Alright, what's up, y'all? Just thinking about starting this thing where we chat while I drive home, because a lot of the things that I think about and, the discussions that I get into, some of them happen while I'm at work, and then I feel like by the time I get home and shit, I either forget about some of them, maybe they... I don't know. I just figured maybe we'll just come up with some name for this little driving session that we're gonna do. So I guess the main thing today that got attention was I get this feeling from how some of the people that I guess discuss stuff with, I haven't really had a debate yet because I haven't had anybody really come to me with like a position. Like they always, they'll say I'm wrong or I'm right, but they don't have a position of their own. So you can't really debate somebody if they don't, share an opposite position of you. I've got a few, one person for sure that I know has a lot of opposite positions. But it's all like emotional debate, like their position's completely based off of emotion and like maybe past experiences for them or whatever the case might be. But I can't really debate you like that because I'm gonna destroy your emotional feelings with facts. I mean, not everything about good parenting and good relationships, are gonna directly, reflect me. I'm not here saying that I'm the best dad and that everybody that, has kids should listen to what I say. I really don't care if you listen to what I say or not. I created this podcast to help people, not to, not to harm people. I really don't have any intentions of anything I say, negatively impacting anybody. That's not my goal. Really, my only goal in this whole situation is to, get parents to maybe think twice before they have kids and just leave each other. Fuck it. Whatever, single mom, single dad, we can do this. The reality of it is that while you can do it, I'm not saying that single moms can't or that single dads can't do your thing, but it's not the optimal situation, and I'd be willing to bet at least 75% of single moms are going to agree with that. At least 75% of single dads too are going to agree that it's not optimal to raise your kids, apart. I don't understand what's so, so fucking crazy about that. Like, I don't think it's that crazy. Is it crazy? Like, y'all telling me, man. If it's crazy for me to think that a kid is better off having both parents in the house, I want one person to come and debate me on this with some facts. Change my mind, dude. I would love for you to change my mind, because then all the single moms out there that I feel so bad for, that I personally get involved in their kids' lives, which, isn't many of them, but I've got, family that is dealing with this situation. And I like to think I get involved with their kids' lives because they need a male figure in their life. And sadly, sadly dad's not cutting it. But I guess that, to me, every time I talk about this, I get negative comments. And it's like, are you trying to say that I'm like, and I know it might be a big misogynistic, is that it means like the hatred of women. You know, like thinking that women are inferior. I am not that. I do not think women are inferior to men at all. Do I think women are better than men? No. Do I think women can survive in this world without men? No. Not really. I mean, you can make ends meet, but I would like to take a poll on how many single women are going to tell me that they're happier. Let's change that to single moms. How many single moms are going to tell me that they're happier now than when their relationship was happy and they had, you know, a dad in the house and life was easier? Because there's no way you're going to tell me that a single person doing it by themselves makes it easier. That's a lie. You don't have to lie to kick it. You don't have to lie to argue with me on here. You can be honest and still come up with a decent argument. At least I would hope so. Yeah, I don't think that me believing that kids being brought up in a home with both parents makes me misogynistic. Me thinking that a woman needs a man and that a man needs a woman does not make me misogynistic. It doesn't. It makes me realistic. I think it's as simple as that. My kids are so much better off having their mom at home with them while I go make the money than they are if it would be just me and I'd have to put them in a daycare and get raised by a stranger. Somebody that in a couple of years will not be part of their life anymore. So send your kids to daycare, they're gonna build a relationship with the daycare teacher, obviously. I mean, unless that daycare teacher is a piece of shit, which is another big reason I don't believe in daycare, because of the abuse rates, of the just neglect rates, really. I think neglect is the biggest thing in a daycare. Sadly, that's also the biggest thing when we get old and you stick family into nursing homes. It becomes the same. Really, a elderly person with, you know, say dementia, sadly, they're pretty much a child. So it goes both ways. Family is what is supposed to be there. So my kids will never see a daycare, ever. I don't care how expensive this world gets. I don't care how many people will sit there and say, you know, both parents need to work. No, they don't. They really don't. We're okay. I'm not going to say that we're well off. I'm not going to say that, you know, seeing my paycheck disappear, you know, with not a whole lot of personal stuff to show for it other than my kids are well taken care of, which to me is the most important anyway. I'm not going to say that it's not, you know, hard. Yeah, having her be a stay-at-home mom, it is hard. Because there would be more money if that wasn't the case. And unfortunately, this fucking world that we live in completely relies on money. We can't do anything without it. But at the same time, if you're a single parent, you're living off one income anyway. You can sit there and say that you get child support, which we discussed in my last podcast, but I think it got cut off because of this software, which I thanks to one of the members of the Mad Dad community telling me that it's probably the software. You're probably right. I haven't really invested any money into the software. This is just all free shit. I've more invested into the equipment right now. I guess software is part of that, so that's probably coming next. That and a new camera. I think my camera's got something to do with it too. But yeah, so I mean, a single mom, sure, she works and she gets child support. Child support for 2 kids, 25%. I make more than like 70% of people my age, give or take. So I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm not at the lower end. I couldn't imagine being there and having 2 kids. I just couldn't. But if me and her would split up, based on my income, she would get roughly $1,000 a month. My 3-year-old costs more than $1,000 a month. And I have a 9-month-old who costs, you know, not much less than a 3-year-old. So the reality is that even with child support, if your man has a good job and makes good money, that'll take care of 1 kid. So if you have 1 kid, all right, you by yourself with 1 kid and child support, maybe you will be okay. You'll have a roof over your head, you'll have food on your table. You won't be doing a lot with your kids, at least stuff that costs money. Unless you have a very good job, which, okay, good for you. Your kid's still being raised by teachers and daycare teachers. Especially if they're young, they're being raised by a daycare. So I guess if that's okay with you, that's cool. It's not okay with me. My preference is that, you know, yeah, me and Angel get into it. Sure. I don't know any couple that doesn't. If you're in a couple and you never argue, share your secrets. Because clearly you figured out something that 98% of humans have not figured out. But I'm not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. I would hope not. I don't like to say that she's living the life that she wanted to live, because I don't know if that's true or not. From what I know of her, it is. She always wanted to be a mom, and now that's her full-time profession. We're blessed with 2 amazing children. I like to think, you know, compared to maybe a colicky baby or, you know, extremely naughty kids, whatever the case might be, that she is, you know, got a pretty good life going. And I have no complaints. I like my job, which is crazy. I've only maybe ever said that one other time in my life. I'm a welder now. I enjoy it. Is it hard work? Sure. Am I tired as hell right now? Hell yeah. I'm fucking exhausted. 12 hours in a shop, you know, a hot shop, and they just changed it so now we have to wear fucking pants all summer. We used to be able to wear shorts. They took that away. So now it's even hotter, but I don't have any complaints. I'm gonna pause this. I have to put gas in. I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that this doesn't ruin the video. I think I can restart it right where I'm at. So I'm gonna pause it. I'll be right back and put some gas in. We'll continue this talk. All right, I'm back. So I think that worked. Of course, I'm gonna listen to this fucker. You know, probably on my way to the doctor tonight or whatever. Because my luck, the fucking sound will cut out and I'll be doing this for nothing too. But this is a different software that I downloaded. So I'm hoping this one will work. I'm giving it a shot. I'm gonna try using it on Monday as well. The only problem is the screen. But I think once I put it over to Facebook and YouTube, I think it'll be a full screen. If not, that's why I put that little Mad Dad background on here. Anyway, where were we? Misogyny, child support. So let's dive back in there somewhere. Yeah, so as a single mom with child support and a decent job, you could do it. But your kid's gonna be raised by other people, unless you're blessed and have, grandparents or your parents that, are retired or are able to work around your schedule and watch your kids. But that's not as common anymore, I don't feel like. I don't feel like that's as common. You don't really see that. I feel like daycares charge what they charge because it's the, demand. People need it now. A lot of that has to do with our parents aren't retiring at ages that our grandparents were retiring at. This is where I also, I try and stay out of politics and whatnot. Mainly because I don't really dedicate much of my time to learning about it. I do and I don't. I know enough that I feel like if somebody wanted to have a little debate, I could probably hold my own. But I stick to what I know. So yeah, I feel like due to the, retirement age going up, if even happening, I actually just talked about that with the guy in the gas station. Retirement's not really, it's not something that I'm like holding my breath for. I'll probably work till I'm dead. But anyway, let's get back on topic here. So yes, getting back to what I really wanted to talk about. Why does me wanting statistically the best possible situation for kids, which is hands down being in a home with both parents, so I want that for everybody. I want, more stay-at-home moms. I just feel like that's what women were, meant to do. I guess if me saying that makes me sound like I'm telling you that women shouldn't have careers, I didn't say that shit. I think priorities come into play. I think that if your priority as a female is to have some career so that you can out-earn men and be independent, then maybe your priority shouldn't be to have kids. Because especially, as infants, children really need their mothers more than anything. That's kind of just, I hate to say that would be common sense, because it is, also backed by fact, but I kind of just always saw that as common sense. I would think a good portion of the guys on here, if you'd ask them, who their favorite person is, besides their children and their woman, I would think, family-wise, they would say their mom. I don't think being a mama's boy is a bad thing. Maybe an extreme version of it could be. But my favorite person, other than, the family I've created, is my mother. So I think stay-at-home mom is something that families should strive to have. My children love their mother. Would be lost without their mother. So I feel like her raising them and being their main, their main person, I can't really put into words how important that is. So I guess their main person is extremely important. I think anybody that disagrees with that needs to study up on parenting a little bit. I also think that parenting classes, research, that's something that every parent should do. Either before having kids or after, it don't matter. It's important. I learn something new every day about being a dad. Whether that's from him actually doing it, like I'm about to here in about 15 minutes, or if it's from listening to others that have done it successfully. I don't think there's anything negative that could possibly come from trying to be a better parent. So back to the misogynistic thing. I will forever defend myself in that because I have no negative thoughts about women at all. That's not saying every woman. I do think I've met some bad moms in my life, and to me, that's kind of failing as a woman. Is that a wrong thing to say? I don't know. I might get some harassment for that. But to be a bad mom, I feel like a woman really has to try to do that. Or not try at all, really. They have to try to not try. I think being a mother is something that comes naturally. So I think every woman has it, the instinct, the biological makeup to be a good mom. And if you don't, maybe use protection, because there's too many kids in this world already that are suffering because of a parent, whether that's the mom or the dad, being a fuck up and leaving. Now, talking about fuck up parents, that can go down all different kinds of holes, rabbit holes, that I'm not trying to delve into, because my past is a little colorful. I've lived a pretty wild and interesting life. So some would say, based on your background, what gives you the right to tell anybody how to be a parent? Well, come spend a day with my kids and see just how joyful and how happy my children are, and how great of a life they live. People can call me what they want, but you're never going to call me a bad dad. That's one thing that I'll never be called. And if you do call me that, you better come with some proof, some backup to that. Because my children they're good. That's one thing they will always be forever, is good. They'll never want for anything. And I don't care if that means I have to work 3 jobs, or if I have to quit my job someday to make sure they're okay. It don't matter. My children come first, next to my woman. I would say there's a pretty close comparison there on who comes first. I wouldn't have my kids if it wasn't for her. She's an amazing mom. My kids are the way they are and behave the way they behave, and are as happy and amazing as they are because of her. So that is another thing you'll never see me do on here, no matter what kind of situation our relationship is in currently. That's really none of anybody else's business. But you'll never ever hear me say she's a bad parent, or that she's not the best possible woman I could have had kids with out of all my relationships, because she is by far. I'm not saying that I don't have any exes that have kids that aren't good moms, because I don't know. I don't know what kind of mom they are, because I don't really pay attention. I'm just glad I didn't have your kid, that we didn't have kids together, because clearly we would be them parents that are doing it separate, and I'm not the one. I'm not into that. So I guess I'm gonna get called lots of things doing this podcast. But the two that you're gonna have to come with some kind of defense for are gonna be a misogynist, because I'm not, and a bad dad. Those are the two things that you're gonna have to come with proof if you're going to debate and try and prove me that I'm either of those things. I guess, if my opinions make you believe that I hate women or dislike women, then maybe you need to take a long look at the kind of woman you are. Because if you're a good mom, you're taking care of yours, your number one priority are your children, and every bit of energy, dedication, love, all that goes into your family, then me and you have no issues. We'll never get into a dispute. Because I'm not going to argue with a good mom and a good partner. If you're that, and you're raising children correctly, I'll never have any quarrels with you. I'll never have any issues. What the hell kind of an issue would I have if I came after good parents? The Mad Dad Podcast is here to make parents good parents. I want all of us to be good parents. I want all of our kids to live the best possible life they can. And truly that comes from love and time, which we also discussed in my last podcast that got cut off. So, I guess my closing argument here is that you can try and convince me that my points are a little brutal, or, that how dare you say a single mom can't do it on her own. Because I don't truly believe that. I didn't say you can't. I said you shouldn't. And shame on the parent that left. Unless it's your fault they left, then that's a whole nother topic too, and I would love to debate somebody that'll admit to that. But no single parent's ever going to admit that they had anything to do with their significant other leaving them. Because that's just not something that we as people tend to want to admit. I think a lot of times we like to think that we're the best parent, partner, whatever that ever existed. So on that note, like I said, you can argue my points, whatever. I don't really think you're ever going to win. I've stuck a lot of time into this field of study, I guess you could call it. I've dedicated a lot of my energy at work, away from work, every day into some kind of study, whether it's relationships or parenting or family matters or whatever. I've put a lot into this. I didn't start this podcast because I'm a clown and don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I encourage people to come and have a dispute with me. In fact, that's, to be honest, kind of what I live for. I would love for somebody to change my mind on any of these topics, because then that to me means you're more intelligent, more educated on this topic, and I'd be happy to say that I changed my mind because somebody outsmarted me. But I also know that you're not going to come to me with some, well, my life, this happened, and therefore, blah, blah. You're not going to come at me like that, because I'm sorry that your life took you to where you think that any of the things I say are untrue. I am. I'm truly sorry for that. And I wish more men, more women, whichever the case might be, thought the way that I and a lot of the people on this platform that I have, think. I wish more people thought like that. You know, that if you were committed enough to get into bed with somebody, not protect yourself and have a baby, well, then maybe you're committed enough to stay with that person no matter what, right? I mean, unless they're beating you, then get the fuck out. No man, no woman should ever put hands on the person they love. Or if there's infidelity, I mean, if you're gonna go out and fuck somebody else, then, you know, whatever. I guess maybe you deserve to be a single parent in that situation. But I'm home. I am gonna start this. If anybody's got any name suggestions for, you know, what we can call this segment, you know, while I'm on my drive home, hit me with them. I'm curious. If anybody's got any issues or, you know, debates against what I say, what I think about any of these topics, please, for the love of God, tell me, and let's, you know, I'll buy the dinner, you know, whatever. Come over and we'll have a debate. You know, if you're someone that I'm willing to engage with talking about this, you know, if I know you already, those are really the only two things that are necessary, that, you know, you could come over and have a debate. I'd be interested. We'll record it and see if you can change my mind. I think the odds are I'm going to change yours. Kids need all of us, man. You know, an old saying from way back is that it takes a community to raise children. And that, especially today, is true. That goes into so many things, but really just the protection and the, you know, the fundamentals that you want to instill in your children, those two things right there will tell you it takes a community. The amount of, for lack of a better word, pedos, sick people in this world, protection alone takes a community. We as parents, or just as adults, have a responsibility, man. There's way too much horrible things happening to these children out here. And it's gut-wrenching, it's heartbreaking. And I think podcasts like mine, the Whatever Podcast, you know, people like myself, Brian Atlas, who's the host of the Whatever Podcast, there's a lot of very intelligent people that I listen to, and that's why I am doing what I'm doing, to shine the light on what I think is the issue in this world, and that's the marriage crisis, relationships not making it, even if it isn't marriage, just the relationships, co-parenting, single parenting, pedophilia. That's a big one. That's just, I'll have a real long show on that. Just the amount of disgust and just, I just can't. Yeah, and really feminism. I think that list I just gave you is a big chunk of what's wrong with the world. This men ain't shit movement is just Come on, man. Why am I not shit? Why is, my neighbor that's raising kids, why is he not shit? While him and his wife are still together. What makes him not shit to these feminists? Goes to work every day and takes care of his family. Are there some garbage men? Yes. Are there some garbage women? Yes. Do men need women? I would be wrong to say no. I think we do. Do women need men? I think any female that says no, go ahead. Do it without one. But don't be all butthurt when your friends that have a man and have a family and are doing it how it was meant to be done are so much happier than you. Don't be upset about that, because you did it to yourself. At the end of the day, there's a lot of fish in the sea. There's a lot of good men out here that don't care if you've got kids. I know a couple of them too, that have dated women with kids and took care of them as they were their own. And just a lot of times get treated like shit and it doesn't work out. I'm confused, man. Let's do this together. That's all I ever really want to see in this world, is for us to all come together and go back to how it used to be. My grandparents have been married much longer than I've been alive. They're still together. Why doesn't that happen? Why is that taboo these days? That's crazy. Think about that, man. I'm always going to stick to it. We need each other. Men need women, women need men, period. If you disagree, cool. Let's have a debate. Like I said, I'll buy dinner. If you're someone that I am willing to invite into my house to have a debate, we'll do that. And I'll pay for dinner. At the end of the day, you're not going to prove me wrong. So thank you, everybody that listened to this. I hope the audio worked. I'm going to get inside to my kids. Y'all have a wonderful day.